But moving on to Carolina, and we went off on a little bit of a tangent there with the Falcons because they have a little bit more guys. I mean, Carolina, we've talked so much about Bryce Young.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this an A+ because Bryce Young pick, because when I look at it, this was the best quarterback there. I've been saying over and over and over again, when you look at the Panthers, this team can play in the playoffs. They can host a playoff game. They can win a playoff game. Look at the way they played. I know, Cam, you're a Tampa Bay Buck guy, and I'm not trying to dig you underground
No
or
favorites.
anything.
No favorites here.
But no favorites. But last year, I mean, you have to admit, Carolina was they were coming for Tampa, and if they had Bryce Young at the end of the year instead of Sam Darnold, who I don't think he played all that bad, but if they had Bryce Young, there's a good chance that they would have won that division. They were this close, man. They were closing in on Tampa.
Yeah.
So I think this year, they get it done. And I was a big fan of that pick. The Mingo pick was interesting. They went high upside, a guy that kind of compares similarly to, an A.J. Brown, a Deebo Samuel, built in that same light. I think he immediately fits in as a slot receiver. You have Terrace Marshall, you have Adam Thielen, you have DJ Chark, you have Laviska Shenault, who I think everyone forgot about, but, I think he still has some value that people aren't talking about. They still have Preston Williams and Shi Smith. There's a lot of talented receivers that are just not like home run names, right? Not a ton of, big time, hey, you ask your mom if she knows Adam Thielen. Maybe she knows Adam Thielen. Maybe she knows DJ Chark, but she probably doesn't know Shi Smith. And I think Shi Smith is a talented receiver. So the Mingo piece, there, I have no issue with them going high upside. It was a little high for me personally. I would have gone in a different direction, but they already have some guys there. They have veterans, like Adam Thielen is going to help him a lot. And then I thought the DJ Johnson pick was a mega reach. Not even, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but I had a 7th round grade on the guy. So they pick him at 80th overall. I was a little surprised on that. And then they got my guy Chandler Zavala, who I personally was able to speak with during this process. Great guy. He's been through a lot. You talk about him playing at, a really, really small school, and then he ends up transferring, and, NC State ends up bringing him on. I mean, this guy has a really cool story. We mentioned him. I think I was on the Bleav in Rams podcast, and then Jimmy Robinson, safety out of Florida State. You're getting a DB out of Florida State. There's been a lot of good ones. He has some good tape in the 5th round. I like their draft class, Cam. Overall, I'm going to say, though, it's a B- with a really top-heavy selection in Bryce Young that stops it from being in the C's, my guy, because as much as I like Zavala, as much as I like, Bryce Young, like Mingo, I don't have an issue with, but the DJ Johnson pick was a severe reach, in my opinion, in the 3rd round. This is where you need to get a day 1 starter for your team. And I just really think that pick, when all those guys were on the board there, and to me, when you look at the Panthers, like, I thought they should have gone out and gotten a more NFL ready edge. And honestly, an interesting one would have been our guy, Isaiah McGuire.
Yeah. The Carolina Panthers, I got a B for him here, Jake. When we talk about, just their whole draft class here, right? It's not that stout. It's not that stout. You see some other teams, they have multiple people they've traded, they flipped, they flopped. And it seems like the Panthers are like, okay, we're gonna get our guy. We're gonna call it a day. And so, you got Jonathan Mingo, you got someone for him to throw the ball to as well in the draft. So they're gonna be able to travel to North Carolina together and be in that freshman class, which is really cool. You got a guard as well in Chandler. We spoke about him, like you said, on the Bleav in Rams podcast. Just his ability as well. So you got some folks that can protect Bryce Young. But Jake, we want to see a little bit more, right? I know they had the first pick, and like I said, it seems like they just cashed in out after that one. So, like I said, I gave them a B. But we kind of go back to the point, right, where you mentioned that the Panthers, you feel like, are going to host a playoff game. I like it, Jake. I like it. Just seeing how things are shaping up, even though they didn't do too well in the draft, right? They got Bryce, so like you can say they did really well, but I can see that as well, just the way they're shaping up here. But like we talked about, it seems a little shallow. After Bryce, everything else seems a little bit shallow. Going to your DJ Johnson here with that reach, my man ran a 4.49, Jake. So, when a guy running like that, in an effective defense, the Panthers always plays tough nose football. So a guy running a 4.49 right at 261, sign them up. You know, sign them up. I know we got Burns on the other side there, so I think they're going to definitely cause some havoc. And then going back to Jimmy Robinson coming out of Florida State. You know, anytime you got a guy come out of Florida State, you know your Lamarcus Joyners. Anytime a DB is titled with that Florida State on there, they're going to be a baller. Jalen Ramsey. So um, the Panthers, it might seem like it's not deep right now, but at the end of the day, you know, come the season when you have to play, they're going to show up, and I can see them in the playoffs. But they got to be for me as well.
Yeah. So you got to be, I got to be minus.